This is from Hebrews 10. Perfected forever. How I pray that all of you bumps will find your perfection forever. Now, before it's too late. And that you will find the covenant that God made with you, and that you keep forgetting. Folks, we're on page 31. This is fair. It's getting better. And if it isn't so that a defendant cannot defend a co-defendant, why don't you say so? And if it isn't so that Satterley is in default since the summons night, why don't you say so? The grounds means fact and law. And your autism proves your destitution of caliber. Mephistopheles loses again. We repeat. Now, this is Jasper's final wheeze, just about. And it contains 7 lies. I have enumerated them, as you can see, maybe. Now, here we go. One lie after another. Lastly, plaintiff bases her present motion on her allegation that she was denied due process through the denial of a fair and complete trial. On the contrary, here's lie number 1, plaintiff was afforded a full trial that lasted several hours. Indeed, a trial of extraordinary length in a small claims forum, where she was allowed to present all of her evidence. That's lie 5. As that was not denial, as there was no denial of a full opportunity to be heard, this also fails as a basis for a motion for retrial. Hey, now we know how to deal with these lies. You don't cut them out one at a time, paste them and refute them. You just number them, and then you go down the list. When you lack quality or state of being able to deal with the truth, what do you do, folks? You lie. You resort to lies. Here, in our lies, herein lie lies, number 32 to number 38. And state your grounds. Now this means fact and law. Jasper has not stated one law in this rubbish as to, except of course, Civil Practice Laws and Rules 4404B for a new trial, which she misapplied. Point, she hasn't stated one law except that which she misapplied. Glendora did not ask for what Jasper referred to, and how does Glendora end this sentence with a preposition? Or without a preposition. And 4404B, new trial, does not speak of a, quote, retrial. It speaks of a new trial. Now let's go to, quote, several hours, unquote. Is that 5:15 p.m. to 6:50 p.m.? Jasper cannot count up to two as far as paginating her paper. Now she can't count up to 2 as to the hours. That's an hour and 40 minutes. That's not several hours. See how they lie? Oh, these poor people. Quote, extraordinary length, quote, unquote, is more rookie. You know, this woman is nothing but an intern. She'll be there for a year. You'll call up in a year, sadly, and they'll tell you she's no longer with the firm. She's nothing but an intern. I don't know if she gets paid or not. Jasper doesn't know that Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation in the Rye Court, that trial took 6 hours. That was with Peter Lane. And the trial in Yonkers, that was on February the 18th, 2004. And the trial in Yonkers City Court, small claims. Did I make it clear that the Rye Court was a small claims? Okay. And the Yonkers City Court small claims trial on October the 26th of the year 2006, less than 6 months ago, took 3 hours. So that's how much Jasper knows. What can you expect her to know? She's a rookie. And the Harriston Town Court did not know enough to have a trial. John Vogt doesn't know that you have to have a trial in small claims. That's small claims law and procedure. And the Phillipstown Court, Stephen G. Taman didn't know enough that you have to have a trial in small claims. And Rudolph, Tannenbaum, Angio Little, Lippman, and McCabe, judges on the appellate term, don't know enough that you have to have a trial in small claims. As Glendora told you at trial, these appeals judges will probably be tossed into the bin marked, "Who to sue?" It's not grammatical, but it's graphic. The decision has to be made. Small claims, municipal court, Supreme Court, or federal court. Where will we sue these people? Small claims, municipal court, Supreme Court, or federal court. They're all state actors, except the defendants, under Title 42 of the United States Code, Section 1982, 1983. Civil Rights and Section 1985, conspiracy. Probably, since this is civil rights, it's violation of small claims rights. They violated my claims, my rights to small claim procedure, which is the Uniform Justice Court Act of 1975, I believe, Article 18, codified as the Uniform City Court Act, Section 1801. They violated these small claims rights, which becomes a civil rights case. And Hansbury is a state actor. And so are Rudolph, Tannenbaum, McCabe, Angiolillo, Lippman, and LaCava. It could be filed as an original action in the Judith K. Court, the highest court in the state of New York, Court of Appeals. Or it could be filed as an original action in the United States Supreme Court. Why? Because it's a constitutional issue, it's civil rights. Now let us retrogress to page 31, herein to paragraph 73, Jasper Lie 4, therein. Glendora made it abundantly clear that she did not have the opportunity to present all of her evidence. 10% would be a generous allowance. And she told Hansbury this. And there was a, quote, denial of a full opportunity to be heard, unquote. It is on the CD, and Glendora's 5 court monitors heard it. Hansbury, if he had been on the ball, would have heard it. And so did Jasper, if she had been truthful. How can anybody that young be so prolific as to lying, so profligate, so prodigal? Therefore, it does not, quote, fail as a basis for a motion for new trial. And even if it did, there is an amplitude of other reasons for a new trial and a new action. This puts to rest Glendora's reputation of Jasper's virulent affront to truth in her next to last paragraph. Now, would you like to go to her last paragraph? Yes, gladly. We're on page 37. She says, in conclusion, the plaintiff's motion should be denied in its entirety, and the defendants should be granted costs and attorney's fees in responding to this frivolous motion, together with such other and further relief that is just and proper. That is so hackneyed. All worn out platitudes. It's all hack. Well, I have a few things to say about that on page 38. Well, first of all, where she says that the defendant should be granted costs and attorney's fees, Glendora, and put in should not be granted. Jasper has not addressed Glenn's motion in its entirety. She has not addressed it in its entirety, and I'll be showing you that later. Pages and pages of issues she eschewed. Her aptitude leaves her again in the lurch. Attorney's fees are not allowed in small claims. Motion is not frivolous, but Jasper's responding, quote-unquote, is. And indeed, her 2 pages hardly rise to a response. She has said utterly nothing. There is no further relief, just and proper, left for them. It augurs only a jet stream of agony. Her wind-up smacks of the ground instead of grounds. She disinterred it from Callaghan. This is exactly how Callaghan wrote his final paragraphs. And I do mean final. They come from the grave. Now I want to show you this signature, which belies a muddled mind. A muddled signature, illegible, and a muddled mind. And she says that we are attorneys for the defendants. Sadly, Stevens, Burke, and Burt, 230 Park Avenue, Suite 1130. That's something new. New York, New York, 10169, 212-818-9200. Well, this is line number 4 because she is not attorneys for the defendants. And she said so herself. So things are going reasonably well here. We're up to page 41. Well, I was telling you about Jasper's signature, and that she gives no Carmody weight proof that she is authorized to represent. Sadly, we know she's not authorized to represent Sarok or Cecilia because she said so herself. And that her signature is illegible and that it belies a muddled mind. As any liar has to have a muddled mind, and they certainly do. And that Jasper does not declare on the penalty of perjury that she is telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help her God. And that she's familiar with the facts and circumstances. Her talk is hearsay. And this court is listening to hearsay, and this court is not hearing the fact nor the law, and Jasper does not declare under penalty of perjury again that she is telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. She is not, and Hansbury is not. And neither does she declare, quote, true and correct, unquote, under the laws of the United States of America. And Sarok was a late comer. Jasper, what Jasper tells you is hearsay. Sarok was bad enough, he was a late comer, but Jasper is a later late comer. And now Glendora is going to list to you all of the things that she claimed that neither Hansbury nor Jasper acknowledged or refuted or denied. So these are all victories for Glendora. Hansbury denied that Glendora opened first and closed last. He let Jasper open first and close last. Denied Glendora an opening statement, denied Glendora a closing statement. Hansbury ran out of the courtroom before the Glendora could say for purpose of appeal, I take exception to everything that happened at this trial tonight. And Hansbury obstructed Glendora from access to her hours and her dollars. She had all the facts, but he wouldn't let her go to her papers to find them. And Hansbury and Jasper failed to address the ad dominum. Glendora presented it to each one of them. They didn't address it, they didn't refute it, they didn't deny it. And this is same too of the docket of hours and dollars that Glendora handed in as evidence at the court, at the trial. And Hansbury's violation of Judicial Canon 3A, they do not dispute that Hansbury that a judge has to be courteous and patient with litigants. He was discourteous and impatient. And his public policy law, Glendora claims that Glendora has a presumptive right that a judge knows the law and knows how to conduct a trial. They don't dispute that. Hansbury's refusal to acknowledge that Glendora had 5 court monitors as witnesses to what he did. He doesn't deal with that. The evasion to deal with the fact that a defendant cannot represent a co-defendant. So these are all victories for Glendora because they didn't challenge him. And Hansbury did not do his homework. He doesn't challenge that. That Hansbury is not fully familiar with the facts and circumstances, and that the bench is no place to read 3 orders from the appellate term, and that and Glendora's claims of ex parte and evasions of those claims, and that Jasper was offered a glass of water by Hansbury, but Glendora was denied one, and that Hansbury acted as the defendant's defense counsel, and that did not dispute that Hansbury should have granted default judgment the night of January 4th, 2006, on the first appearance, the answering to the summons, because Sadly did not appear. Sarok appeared, but Sarok is a defendant, and you can't defend the co-defendant Sadly, so therefore Sadly was in default. Hansbury does not address that. He did not grant default judgment on Sarok's no appearance at the trial, and Master Riley's no appearance at the trial. That should have been a default judgment right then and there on January the 24th, trial night, 2007. And because Jasper said that she was appearing only for Sadly, and she proffered no proof of that even. And undisputed is a violation of Glendora's small claims right to appearance as to summons and trial with no motion practice in between there. Hansbury allowed 18 months of motion practice, and that is not allowed in small claims. It's you appear for the summons and you appear for a trial. That's it. Hansbury does not refute the fact that he should have granted the City of White Plains $5,000 in sanctions for their wasting scant judicial resources, and instead of diminishing the busyness of the courts, he exacerbated it, and he abused the court system, and so did Jasper, and so did Sarah, and so did Sadly, and so did Cecilia. They did not refute that Hansbury did not do his homework, and that he didn't review the file before he came to the bench, and that the cause of the action occurred entirely within the walls of the White Plains City Court. Why, that judge had personal knowledge of the cause of action as no other judge has ever had personal knowledge of the facts and circumstances. Everything that I spoke about and charged against them happened within the walls of the White Plains City Court. They did not dispute that Hansbury was not aware that he wrote the decision on jurisdiction, nor that each defendant was without a meritorious defense, and Glendora continues listing the points that Jasper evaded and therefore upon which Glendora is victorious. And Glendora's on page 89 of the Notice of Appeal with 3 attachments, and this is attachment 2 of the motion for a new trial. That Hansbury was unfair, undisputed. Ultra vires, undisputed. Unfair to, undisputed. Foul ball, undisputed. No Carmody weight proof. No triable issues. Obstruction of justice, mean-spirited. All of these claims by Glendora were undisputed, and therefore she's victorious on them. And whatever Sarok said, Hansbury said to Glendora, he won and you lost. That's pretty bad to come from the bench. Well, Hansbury, you lost. Okay, you and I happen to be on the same side on that appeal. And if I lost, then you lost also. Anyway, it was very inappropriate Hansbury does not deny, or Sawrock in her paper does not deal with Hansbury's outbursts of fury, his access of fury. And there are 4 of them. And they did not deny that Hansbury did not exercise pro se leniency. We're now on page 96 of the affirmation in support of motion for new trial. And Zoe Zasper in her opposition did not address that jurisdiction vanished as a defense, so therefore Glendora wins on that. And Glendora's claim of civil practice laws and rule 8101 that Glendora was damaged by the court's ineptitude. Nobody disputed that, so Glendora wins on that. They did not defend against the affronts on public policy that Glendora claimed, that Hansbury acted in bad faith. Every one of them acted in bad faith. Satterley, Sawrock, Masterilli, Hansbury, Jasper. And they did not refute Glendora's claim of presumption of constitutionality, that the Small Claims Act is constitutional. And they did not cite one law. Everything was all conclusory. We're up to page 46 of this paper. That everything they did was all dictum. That they had no statutory authority to deny Glendora's damages. I ask you, Hansbury, Jasper, and every one of you defendants, Sawrock and Satterley and Cecilia, what is your statutory authority to deny my damages? You come up with statutory authority. They did not deny Glendora's claim that Hansbury was in a conflict of interest. He belongs to a law firm, and this was a lawsuit against the law firm. That he's a lawyer, and this was a lawsuit against the lawyer. Obvious conflict of interest. And Glendora's claim that everybody, all of them, evaded the merits, and that they rendered the courts meaningless. And there was their tacit and passive behavior was an admission that Glendora was right as to 96 counts of ignorant lawyering and shoddy workmanship. And that no matter how much they cover up and obfuscate and adumbrate, it doesn't change the fact. The fact is there, and the law is there. All of their cheating doesn't change it. And neither Hansbury nor Jasper refuted the ad hominem, and it was in their phalanges. I handed it in as evidence. They had it in their hands. Neither one of them refuted it. So Glendora has to be victorious on that. Now Glendora is listing the victories off of page 111 on the affirmation in support of her motion for a new trial. Since they didn't refute these things, Glendora wins on them. They didn't refute that a lawyer is not licensed by the state of New York. A doctor has to be licensed by the state, but a lawyer isn't. All a lawyer has is a union card from a vicious union called the American Bar Association. It's nothing but a trade union. They do not have a license to practice in the state of New York. They did not refute that any citizen of the United States or any person of the United States who accepts the title of nobility, in this case